Hey guys, how are you? David Franco here from GearPop.com as well as the FrancoMedia.com. Stay tuned to the end of the video for an announcement regarding a future giveaway. Alright, so today's video is all about this. Not the box specifically, but the Mad Catz Frequency 5 or Freak 5. Mad Catz is being trendy by saying F.R.E.Q. Unless all those letters really do mean something, because that is technically an acronym because of all the periods, but that's beside the point. Alright, so what else is included besides the box? Well, you obviously do get the headset. I have everything on my lap here so I don't forget. Oh geez, now I'm dropping things. You do get the headset, obviously. Here it is. Pretty nice design. Nothing overly special, but I will talk about that later. You do also get a detachable mic. I don't know why, I've always been very amused by this. I love the ability and the idea of detaching and attaching my mic at any given moment. And of course, you do get USB cables because this is a wired headset, which is not necessarily a bad thing. This means that you will not get any interference issues like I did with the Astro A50. Yeah, that was the wireless one I had a while ago. I eventually sold it for those wondering. But anyway, you do get a mini USB cable as well as a mini USB cable with 3.5mm on the end. So this one does have the audio jack on the end, but this one is USB on both ends. And finally, you get a bunch of documentation, which honestly is a bit much. I don't think you'll ever really use this, except for you can scan the barcode on the back for special offers. But still, I guess it doesn't hurt. Alright, so getting on to the actual review, what are my thoughts about the Mad Catz Frequency 5 gaming headset? Well, first of all, I gotta say, it does support Windows and OS X. That's a huge deal because when you think of gaming headsets, they usually just support Windows, right? Or they just support like a gaming console. No, this supports everything that you can imagine as long as you're playing a game and as long as it has a 3.5mm connection or a USB connection, this will work just fine. Alright, so my second pro that I want to talk about, and yes, I do have notes down here if you see me glancing down, is the fact that these have awesome sound, surprisingly. And I didn't really expect that because they just cost less than $150. I say just because that's really not a crazy price considering what I paid for my Astro A40 2013 as well as my Astro A50. But yes guys, the sound is surprisingly awesome and very bassy. You know me, I love my bass. Whenever a good pair of headphones or a headset doesn't have good bass, I'm kind of immediately put off because that's kind of like my selling factor. Bass is my reason for owning good headphones, and it is no different with these. Alright, so for my example, I played Real Racing 3. I believe that just came out a little while ago. It is free on the App Store, check it out. And it sounded amazing. You could hear the engine revving up, you can hear cars passing, the music sounded incredible, and overall, with this headset, it was just an awesome experience, and I really enjoyed it. And by the way, it definitely beats using the onboard speaker of the iPad. Trust me, if you're using the onboard speaker on the iPad, you're missing out on such a great experience. Pick up a decent pair of headphones or a decent headset such as this, and you'll enter a whole new world. And no, my name's not Aladdin. The third pro I want to talk about, I already kind of mentioned this real quick, but the fact that this does have a 3.5mm connection, this means it does not only work with computers such as your Windows system or your Apple system. This fully works with my iPad as mentioned. This fully works with the iPhone, iPod Touch, Android devices, Windows Phone devices. Anything that has a standard headphones connector, this will work perfectly. And that alone is a huge selling point. The fact that this can work on a large variety of devices, that doesn't mean I'm restricted to just one platform. Alright, so the next pro I want to talk about, I mentioned earlier about the detachable mic, but I should also mention, check this out, it's flexible. This is huge. This is a huge feature in my eyes because I do have times with my Xbox Live headset, granted it's the cheap one that comes included with the system, it works just fine. But there are times where I want to position it, but it just doesn't go in the position I want it to. So this goes any way I want it to. Alright, so you just plug it into the headset like this. Wait for the click. Very loud click at that. And you can position it any way you want. Actually, let me give you a good example of how it looks. So with an Xbox Live headset, I would just be kind of like restricted to this. It doesn't get close enough to my mouth, therefore you won't hear like little details I have to share, like damn it, or I don't know, just anything that's relevant to me ranting in a game. But now with this, I can position it like that. How cool is that, guys? You can put it any way you want, even up here out of your way if you really wanted to. But if you don't want to use it, again, you just yank it out and you're good to go. The next thing I want to talk about is the fact that you do have onboard volume controls right here. There's this little knob, very easy to access when you're gaming. You just put your finger up, boom, adjust it. You do have an onboard microphone mute, which I always appreciate. I just saw it too. You know what? There it is. I keep turning it too many times. Right there. You also have an EQ button right here behind the mute button that lets you choose between different audio listening modes. This goes for movies, music, games, whatever. Based on your listening experience, this thing has got you covered. My final pro is more about the price, but I still consider it a pro, especially in my eyes, considering I've used at least 3 gaming headsets now. This is definitely the cheapest of the bunch, as far as I can remember. Anyway, this sells for just $150. Actually, guys, that's probably not even true, because if you do follow the link below to gearpop.com, you can most likely get this for about $20 less than retail, which is always good. I mean, that's the reason I made gearpop.com, to share these sales and to just advertise good deals out there. And plus, it's win-win for everyone. All right, so that is my list of pros, but as with anything that's awesome in this world, there's always at least 1 or 2 things worth mentioning on the list of cons. Now, thankfully, there are just 2 cons, so it's really not a huge deal. The first con is the fact that I thought these are kind of cheap looking and cheap feeling. Again, coming from something like Astros that costs at least $200, I'm kind of used to that better build quality. But again, for $150, these aren't that bad, and if looks aren't important to you, then just ignore it. That's just worth mentioning in my opinion. I mean, this doesn't matter for everybody, but you guys should know very well by now, I'm a design freak, so for me personally, a product not only has to look good, but it has to work well as well. I just said well twice. And now for con number 2, this is obviously personal and relevant to the person using it at the moment, but in my opinion, I thought the Frequency 5 could have been a little more comfortable. For instance, when I put it on like this, as so, there's really no other way to put it on unless you accidentally flip it. It feels comfortable enough, I guess, but it doesn't feel as comfortable as other headsets I've used in the past. And no, this does not just go for Astro headsets, because again, I realize they are very expensive, compared to a headset like this. But I'm talking about more of like the Monster Beach XP500, I think it was. And I think that sold for about $180, which yes, is still more expensive, but it was more comfortable considering you're just spending about $30 more. Because again, it all comes down to personal preference and what you like. So that is my review of the Mad Catz Frequency 5 gaming headset for both Windows and Mac. What are my thoughts? Honestly, I say it's worth it. I mean, for less than $150, you're getting a pretty damn good experience, especially compared to headsets that go for $180 and $200 and around that price range. But speaking of other headsets, if you are interested in shopping around, just head on over to gearpop.com. Link is right below. I now have a category dedicated to gaming headsets. It is always good to have the option of choosing whichever works best for you. So check it out, guys. That link is right below. But before I close out the video, I gotta give a huge thanks and huge shout out to techbargains.com. They were nice enough to sponsor this for a review, and I really appreciate it. And they are actually partnered with gearpop.com now. So just go to gearpop.com/deals, and that page alone has so many deals and savings on today's latest tech. This goes for Amazon, the Apple Store, Dell, Newegg.com. I mean, these are good brands we're talking about. And the fact that I'm now affiliated with brands like that, I think that's pretty cool. And I really appreciate that. So thank you to techbargains.com for not only making the deals page possible, but for also making this video and the unboxing video possible. And now, guys, that is my review of the Mad Catz Frequency 5 gaming headset. I didn't think it was that bad, but I didn't think it was amazing. It was a pretty good starter gaming headset. There you go. That's a good way of looking at it. This is a good first gaming headset if you're just getting into that market. Now, guys, before I close out the video, I want to talk about my newsletter. If you are interested in getting exclusive reviews, tips, giveaways, or whatever, just go to thefrancomedia.com, go to the right sidebar, put in your email, and sign up. Not only do you get my 15 YouTube tips ebook for free, but this instantly subscribes you to my exclusive newsletter. Alright, so what's really awesome about this newsletter, I just came up with this today actually, I'm going to start using that newsletter as a source/portal, whatever you want to call it, for giveaways. So this goes for people who really enjoy my content, people who go the extra step to subscribe to my newsletter to help me out. I will be giving back by giving away free iTunes gift cards soon, maybe an Amazon gift card, and anything else that can help you guys out. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your support. Seriously, it means the world to me, and I'll see you in my next video.